If you've been overpaying Uncle Zuck for shitty leads, shitty calls, this video is for you because we're going to be talking about how you can cut your cost per qualified call in a matter of minutes, okay? And this is a really important metric to track. Notice I didn't just say cost per call. I said cost per qualified call because you can book as many calls as you need, but if those calls are shitty, then there is literally no point in booking them in, right? So I'd like to always measure this important metric, CPQC, cost per qualified call, okay? And if you're still feeling like you're overpaying Zuck for this, you might be experiencing one of these three main problems, okay? they're they're wasting space on your calendar. Unqualified leads are wasting space on your calendar. That those space could be actually allocated to leads with much higher potential to close and much higher qualification criteria, right? Because there's just so much space on your calendar. It's a finite space, finite resource, and placing people who are not qualified in there is wasting that resource. It's costing you literally, it's costing you money by booking in an unqualified person, okay? Which is a very bad place to be as a coach, right? Second thing you might be facing is that your dream clients are signing with your competitors, okay? And this could be annoying if you're the kind of coach who is impact driven and you feel like you are better than your competitors. Of course, if your competitors are better than you, then probably is not the best way to think about it. But if you carve your own niche, you carve your own category, you carve your own blue ocean, and you feel like there's nobody else that could serve your niche more than you, then you are the right person that I'm talking to right now. Okay, if that is you, then it should be alarming for you. It should be annoying for you that your dream clients are going to the wrong people. Okay, because they can go to the to the right person, you, and get as much help as they need and transform their lives, or they're going to go to the guy with better better audience or things like that and get subpar results. You should care about them, and this should be something annoying to you. And the third most important thing you might be facing is that your ability to fulfill is hindered because you're not getting the right clients. A lot of people don't understand this, but a product is not going to be good just by the virtue of the product. The product is very, very dependent on the type of customer it's going to serve. And one of the best products are the products which are made for a specific kind of avatar because they can actually fit all the hinges and fit all the gears to actually create results. That is why unscalable fulfillment models like one-on-ones, and coaching are very, very effective than scalable fulfillment models like courses or seminars, because it is very, very hard to personalize scalable solutions than it is to personalize unscalable solutions, right? And so it is very, very important for you to actually define and make sure that the qualified people are coming to your product so that your product is going to work. Because the thing is, when you do not get this right, what is going to happen is you're going to get a random person, an unqualified person. You're going to build a great product, and you're going to, sign that client. And because that client was not right for that product, because that client was unqualified, what is going to happen is that person is not going to get results. And you're going to lie to yourself and say, this guy did not get results because of my product. But no, mostly it's because, I'm not saying you're always going to build a great product, but mostly if you get unqualified leads and you sign them to a product, then it's probably not going to work. It's not just because of the program, but it's also because of they are unqualified. And it's going to make you doubt yourself, and you're going to give up and all of these things, right? So we do not want to do that, right? So in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly what levers you should push to actually make sure that the people that are coming to your calendar are super qualified, and you can cut the cost per qualified call down to a Starbucks coffee, right? Which is what we want, right? We don't want to be making Uncle Zuck rich, right? On our expenses, right? So The main two things, the main two pillars you need to understand and you need to refine as you go in this process is your messaging and how you showcase that messaging. Okay, it's very important to actually understand this. And what do I mean by messaging? Okay, there are a couple of components here. Okay, and one of the biggest pieces here is only talking about the topics that your avatar or that your niche cares about or resonates with. Okay, and once you're able to define that avatar, once you're able to define that person, then you can understand what does this person exactly care. Okay, for example, if you're let's say you're a relationship coach, right, and you help men after breakups. Okay, and when you actually make a messaging or make any kind of content topics for that particular avatar, you need to understand and be in the place of those people to actually understand, okay, what does this person care about? Okay, because they've been in a breakup. What are they going to think? What things are going in their brains to actually consume what, x kind of content or x kind of topics? If you go to that person and you talk about, marriage or how to take your existing relationship to the next level, then that will not resonate. It's just not going to work. That is what we call the messaging break, what I call on my channel the dissonance. Okay, and that is why it's very, very important to actually define a very specific avatar that is going to understand whatever topic that you're going to provide to them, because it's so very tailored to their specific situation. Okay. You also need an offer statement. An offer statement is what you talk about or what you promise people or what you promise the world that you are going to do, right? And as I've outlined in the channel before, as we go to 2025 and beyond, there is a trust recession that is coming, right? Everybody's coming up with their own offer statements, and some people are overlapping with other people. And those people who are listening to those offer statements are just numb, okay? They just don't care what kind of offer statements you have. And that is why you need to add the new method. That's why I added this. Okay, this should be a new method for you that is unique, that you can talk about. Hey, this is my offer, but this offer is going to be, delivered with this new technique, new way. Okay, because it's very important to get people to believe your outcome. Okay, so once you actually do this, then you also need to understand the current situation. It's the one that I said. Once you understand the current situations, is the moment you can make people resonate with you, because you know exactly what they are experiencing in their current situation, and you know what is going to resonate with that current experience. Okay? It's not just enough to know the current situation, of course, you need to also know the goals, right? What do they want to do, right? Because every living person, every living human being has a current situation, and every living human being has a goal, right? Because that's where they're living. If they didn't have a goal, they'd be dead right now, right? So, what is that current situation, and what is that goal, and what is keeping them from getting there? That's also a very important, you know, information you need to have whenever you can craft the best message, right? Because it just clicks into their brain. This three are what is going on in people's mind all the time, right? Once you can actually dial this in messaging, okay, the next piece is going to be showcasing this exact messaging on different platforms, right? When you're going to get attention, right? So, first step is always showcasing the messaging in every corner of social media. I said social media if you're using any kind of social media to actually get attention, but in any in any venue that people are going to meet you, in any venue that people are going to see you, hear you, listen to you, you want to showcase that messaging as much as possible. Okay, so the other thing is, a lot of people just, they don't understand this. I mean, it's so obvious to me, and it's probably so obvious to them, but they don't understand when it comes to the internet and when it comes to these social media platforms. You need to understand that people cannot resonate with you, okay? Remember I said you need to talk about topics that resonate? People cannot resonate with you if they cannot see you. That is why you need to post, right? So Being in social media and not posting is like being born in this world but not having a physical presence, or staying at home in one room for years. It just doesn't make sense. You might have the best ideas, you might have the best topics to get people to resonate with you, but if you do not put those ideas out there, if you do not showcase them, then who is going to resonate? No one's going to resonate. It's not that your ideas or your topics are bad, it's that people cannot see it. And it's a very, very important step you need to make to actually get your messaging out there, right? It's very important. You need to post. You need to get your message out there to actually make people resonate with them in the first place, right? So, other thing you need to also understand once you actually understand your offer statement is you need to believe that your offer is actually going to benefit them. Okay, it's not just going to be you saying yes, this is going to benefit them, but you understand their current situation so well and the desired situation so well that when you think about your offer statement and your new method, you're going to say, yeah, this is going to help them. This is going to work for them. This is actually going to benefit them. This is actually going to be better for them to work with me. Every coach that I want to work with, or every avatar that I want to work with, is going to benefit, is going to benefit more by working with me than working with someone else or doing it on their own. That is what you need to believe. Okay, it should be in the brains. This is not something you just write up or you just say just for the sake of saying. You need to believe it down in your heart. You need to believe it in your brains as well. Okay, you need to say once again, my avatars, I know them well to the point where my offer is going to be cheaper. It's going to be cheaper for them to actually go through my program than it is going to be to go through through the pain and struggle on their own, or the pain and the struggle with another coach or with another service provider that they're probably competing against, right? So you want to have that mentality in your soul, basically, right? So that being said, you need consistent nurturing, like I said, right? You know that people cannot resonate with you unless they cannot see you, and so you need to be consistent in how people see you. You can't be going out of your home, for 2 days and expect everybody's going to know you, or everybody is going to say, "Oh yeah, I remember him." No, they have to see you day in and day out. They have to see you say hi. They have to see you say good night, right? I'm just using metaphorical examples here, but this kind of consistent attention, or this presentation, because this is a type of presentation nurturing, is what I call the consistent nurturing, which is very, very important when it comes to how you can get people to understand that you are there and that your topics and your message is relevant and resonant with them. Okay, so if done right, this can get your cost per qualified call, not just call. This could get your cost per qualified call down to $30, 30 to $35, if you run the Instagram ad funnel, profile visit ads, right? Because, by the way, this is selling on very high ticket products, 5 to 10K. So I'm not. This number is not for low ticket, because it probably might be high for low ticket, but this number is for high ticket, anywhere from 5 to 10K. Okay. So you might be asking, okay, yes, I understand that my messaging and my showcasing is really important in this process, but what exactly do I optimize? What do I do right now? What do I do to actually make this work, right? So again, if you're running the IG profile visit ads, then there are only three things you need to optimize. You need to optimize your top of funnel ads, landing page, your profile, and the relationship building. Now, this one is a huge chunk. I know it's just one piece, but it has a lot of different pieces in here, right? So you need to pay attention. So I believe ads is just super easy for you to understand if you're here. But yeah, so calling out the exact person and getting them to the profile that they would click on follow and continue the process. And the most important one is the relationship building, right? And the way that you build a relationship before the call is going to make sure that the person is qualified, right? So lead qualification is not something that is innate. Okay, so a lead is not going to be born unqualified for your offer for the rest of their life, right? It's just at that point in their journey, or at that point when they reach your calendar or around your calendar, are they qualified? They might be qualified. That exact lead you said is not qualified might be qualified after a few months, after a few weeks, right? And so it tells you that there is an element of time that is actually going to qualify people. And that element of time is what I call here consistent nurturing. Okay. It's very, very important to understand. Now, if you understand this, I do not want you to become this person, okay? This clown that says, hey, I'm an XYZ coach, and just, starts off with that, basic, bland offer statement. It's not even an offer statement. And says, he looks at his competitors online, and then he just offers more services or more products for less price to get people to come into his door, right? And then he baits leads into calls. And this is a very important piece that this person does, because the reason I use the word bait is because he he wants calls. He doesn't want qualified leads, because why would you bait someone who's not qualified to get on a call with you? This is stupid, right? Because most people, when they actually follow this process of the clown, they do this. They bait leads into calls. And the problem with this is they're going to be the wrong people. If you bait someone, their intentions are different from when they said yes and when they actually show up to the call. And what that is going to do is you're going to use, that person's going to use salesy tactics to actually make sure that they close. He's going to try hard closing them by using these, hey, where's your life going to be if you don't do, I mean, all those, I'm not shitting on those tactics, but he's going to try too hard to close the wrong person. Like I said, it's going to be a very, very bad experience for you and for them to actually sign the wrong people, because the product's just not going to work for them. And why would you sign the wrong person to the wrong product? It just doesn't make sense. The other thing that this person is going to do is going to promise the world in just desperation to actually get that person to make a decision, which is a big, big, big red flag. And you do not want to be this person, because if you just keep doing this, if this guy just keeps doing this, what is going to happen is he's going to be an unleveraged commodity. An unleveraged commodity is never going to scale, is never going to see success for a long time horizon. Okay, he's not going to have an upward trajectory because he is unleveraged. He's taking too long to convince people to work with him, and he is a commodity because he's copying everybody else and he just looks like everybody else. Instead, what you want to do is you want to be a leverage unicorn. Okay, you want to be different, and you also want to have leverage. And by leverage, I mean you want to be able to decrease the amount of activities that are required to get your outcome. You want to reduce them to a minimum while still maintaining the same output, right? So you get more for what you put in. That is what leverage means. And when you become a, a, a unicorn or a non-commodity, then you are special, or you are seen as something different, okay, which can draw the right people to you instead of repelling people from you. Okay, so this is this is a cheese method. Okay, you're not going to be a clown. You're actually going to be the person who is going to get qualified leads, qualified calls at the fraction of the cost, right? So again, doing the profile ad visits. This is going to be literally the process. You're going to run targeted ads to profile visits to a very optimized profile that is going to get people to follow you. And then you're going to have a very, very good conversational script that is actually going to get people to talk to you, build that relationship with you and with your content, and is going to get filter people at the same time and get them to book in a call, right? And at that point, they are qualified because of all the hard work you did here, right? And the best part is all this part can literally be 80 to 90% automated, which makes sure that it is a leveraged process for you. You're not going to be stuck taking 1 hour, 2 hour sales calls, trying to strangle leads to literally just buy your stuff, right? And so when it comes to your ads, things you need to again focus on is who am I calling out? The avatar that you're exactly calling out. What exact pain do they have? What exact outcome do they want? And what kind of new way or mechanism do I offer to actually get to that outcome, right? And the benefits of those mechanisms or those new ways, you would have benefits that are going to contrast or that are going to be compared with what they're doing right now. Okay. And once you actually dial this in, then you've already figured out the niche. Okay. And when you have figured out a niche and you have said, you have planted your flag and said, this is the kind of person that I'm going to help. This is the market that I'm going to be a king in. And you can present yourself as an authority by having, the right knowledge and the right results, the case studies, and the people who are going to support that. Then these people who come from the ads are going to see all these things and they're just going to follow through, right? And once they follow through, you need a conversation or the relationship building process where you have the setting flow. Okay, there's a setting flow. I can give you this document. If you want this document, you can DM me on Instagram, and I can share it with you. And you can also make sure that you nurture those people. Nurture those people with building relationship building materials that get those people to warm up and become qualified and more warmed up to what you are going to talk to them about, right? The other thing is the VSL right before they book, right? Because this is going to prime them. This is going to make sure that these people are the right fit for your product. Because if this is missing, we're gonna be facing that same problem you talked in the first place. You're gonna get the wrong people to your product, and that product's not gonna work. And you're gonna say, "Hey, what is my problem? What is my product? I'm not good enough." Blah blah, blah yada yada yada. But it is not true. Okay, it's just it's just a distortion of reality that is happening in your head. Okay, once these people actually have built the right relationship with you, then they book in a call. And with that, when they book in a call, it's not just booking a call, right? It is qualified call. That is why we have the Typeform Calendly. And by the Typeform and Calendly, I mean people are not going to just get access to your calendar just because they've went through this flow. They need to be qualified to actually have access to the Calendly, which is a very important process you need to follow. Because if you keep showing your calendar to the wrong people, then the wrong people are going to book, right? And it's going to be super, unprofessional of you to cancel, once someone is booked, right? And you don't want to go through all that process because your calendar is your most sacred resource as a business, right? So once you actually have that and those qualified leads have booked in, you have your automations to actually make sure that those people show up, right? Now, this is the right way. This is the right way. This is the cheese way to the leveraged unicorn, right? And so this is supposed to be getting you very, very cheap calls, qualified calls. And so I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, if you want this setting flow diagram, again, DM me on Instagram, comment below any questions you have or any ideas for um, future videos you want, and I will happily chime in. Peace.